Excuse that. I had to stop because there was a mechanic knocking on the door. So while we were at this first hotel, they were talking about having me check out the next day, and I said, well, I don't think they're done with my truck yet. So I was able to get another night's extension. But the following day, the my company again wasn't communicating with me. I kept having to hound them. And then by the time they got back to me, I was like, hey, this hotel room kicked me out. They said that they're booked up for the weekend. There's no more time left for me to stay here. So now we're stuck outside in front of the hotel. This weirdo comes up to me asking me if I'm okay and wanted to come sit in his hotel room while I waited. I was like, no, thank you. I'll be fine. I'm waiting for my Uber ride. The company scheduled an Uber ride for me and a hotel, but they took 5 hours to do it. So they send this notice to me that I'm getting an Uber ride. And it says that this guy named Jake is going to pick me up in this vehicle. And we're standing there. I've got my bags. I've got the dog. We're ready. And I see his car. And he pulls up to the circle in front of the hotel area. And he stops. And then he turns around and goes right back out. So I think he saw my dog and decided he did not want to take my ride. Or he had something better to do. I don't know. And then immediately I get another message after it says that he canceled, that some other Uber driver is going to pick me up, and his name is like Paramjeet or something. Well, the time comes and goes when he's supposed to have arrived. So I call the number for him, and it's like red and blue. I said, what? We have many color car, red and blue. I said, it says you're coming in a gray Honda. Yes, we have many colored car, red, blue, gray. I hung up because there was no way that I was going to get... Oh, I forgot to tell you this. That first time I called the number, the automated recording said that this is a scam call. We recommend you hang up. So the second time I called back and he answered, I knew for sure. It was one of those deals where they somehow find out you're trying to get an Uber ride and they have entirely other intentions. And I was not about to be another statistic. So I hang up and I'm like, fuck this. I'll just get my own Lyft. And I got on Lyft and got my own ride. And it was like $20 plus tax to go 3 miles. So now I'm spending this money. I've been spending money on my food. I've been spending money on the pet fee at the hotel because the company will cover the hotel but not the pet fee. So now it's not that I'm just not making money and I'm not getting paid for the load that I just delivered. Now I'm also spending money. And I'm rotting in this hotel room. I'm just rotting there. Like, I can't go out and have a fun day, Like, I need to save whatever I can save. I'm literally like eating extra at breakfast at the free breakfast. And then I'm taking some extra with me for lunch, But I did have to order some DoorDash. There was no way around it. Because they told me, you just need clothes for a couple of days. Well, I didn't have that, did I? I had more than I thought I'd need. I took a little extra clothes, but I didn't take 4 or 5 days worth of clothes. And they didn't have a laundry at that first hotel. So, I'm like washing the crotch of my pants and my underwear in the sink and drying it out at night just to like be clean. It's not real fun. I'm feeling like pretty bad about myself, pretty bad about the company, just not feeling taken care of at all, not listened to, not taken seriously. But still hoping to stick it out somehow. But I did make some contacts to try and get like another job. That didn't go through. So then I get the second hotel, right? The one that's available. 3 miles away, but it is ghetto. I'm talking trash and broken glass all around the perimeter. The door lock on my door is rather janky. It's missing that piece that has the extra bar in front that like you can open the door a crack but still keep it locked. It's missing that. There's weed smell all over. There's a weed place directly across the street where people are literally loitering. There's homeless people sleeping in front of the 7-Eleven. You know, just not a great situation. There's women there with pit bulls, and I don't have a pit bull. I have a cute little red heeler / border collie who likes to bark and is on the offensive around other dogs because they're bigger and he's a puppy. So, yeah, it was dicey. So we were there another 2 nights, I think. 2 or 3 nights. The TV didn't work because the remote was messed up, but I did have my phone, so at least I had some TV to watch, and we did go outside a little bit. But there was just nowhere nearby to feel like we could really relax and enjoy ourselves and feel safe. We basically stayed in the hotel way too much. My poor dog was getting really bored. All I could do was throw him the toys across the hall or across the room, and he'd go fetch after him. Yeah, so they tell me that they're going to send me to a place to get my truck exchanged for another one. They're going to get me a rental car somewhere upstate or north of Baltimore. And I'm going to swap out for a different vehicle until they can fix mine. But then finally the dealership calls me and says, your truck is ready to go. So by this time it is maybe Saturday or Sunday. And I get my truck back, and they tell me to go pick up a load. They tell me to go drop off my trailer at this business a couple of hours north, and then I'm going to go pick up another one somewhere else. I'm going to bobtail there. I take it to this address to drop it off at the dock. And I know I haven't been around a ton of docks, but I've seen a few now, with training. I've seen a few. And this one was in a small business park, and it was at the back of their building. And it was small. They had 7 doors. There was 2 trailers parked, and they weren't close together. They wanted me to dock it at number 3, which is right next to this trailer parked there. And in front of me was a fire hydrant. So I'm sure if you're a truck driver, you know that typically at these places that are small, you have to do an alley dock. There's no other way to get your trailer in straight. I spent a freaking hour. I got out of my truck to look 12 times. It was dark. There was nobody there. They weren't open. I did as many pull-ups and back ends with the alley docking as possible to finally get this thing in straight. And apparently at this one last time that I did it, I had gotten my tire so close to the curb in front of me that there was a little bit of black mark that scrubbed the curb. But I made it, I was able to get the trailer in. Yeah, but the next day, I come out to do my pre-trip, and I see that I have cut the corner of the bottom of the bumper area of my truck, and there is a big orange streak, and it can only be from this damn fire hydrant. This dock was so small, I didn't even have 5 feet in front of me. I've seen ones where you got a good 8 feet in front of you that you can do a little bit of pulling up to straighten out at the very end when you've had to get pretty tight with your 90 degree. The only thing I could figure was this was a place where they had day cabs backing in every day with the trailers, or you had to be some kind of real like backing guru to get this in smoothly. So I was feeling so shitty. Now I have damaged this truck they just gave me, and I've only made one load in a week, and yeah, it was feeling so freaking bad. But I push on, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to try my best to make this work, and maybe I'll look for somewhere else that has something that makes more sense for me. Someplace that, I don't know, actually brings you a truck to swap out when you have to have a breakdown fix, maybe. Yeah. So I go and I pick up this other load. Let's see, where was that at? Let me think now. When you work this many days in a row, the days just start to blend together. Oh yeah, it was the vaccines. So I had to pick up a load and drive it back into my home city to drop it off at a place that handles vaccines. This time, I did my trip planning again. I stayed the night at a decent place. The truck stop was decent in the mountains. And the next day, it was going to rain, unfortunately. It was going to rain coming in from the west, and I had to go west. And with the hours that I hadn't recapped anything because I'd hardly worked the previous week, so I had no recap hours. So no matter what I did, I just couldn't get out of driving through this rain. And I was pretty nervous about it because going through the mountains is one thing as a new driver, but going through the mountains without your Jake brakes working, yeah, scary, But it wasn't the worst track. It was the I-80. It's like the least technically challenging, probably, mountain track of all of that area. And I made it through fine. I just, set my my gears lower. And I made it fine. And then I get done with that load. It goes pretty well. And then I have a little time to kill in the area, so I go back to my car at the terminal in my home city. And I have a stressful time at a family member's house at night. I won't get into it. It didn't work very well, that visit. And I feel bad about it, and maybe I'll talk about it at some other point. So needless to say, I am still very sad, angry, stressed. But nevertheless, I get my load the next day, and I leave for that, and it is me going to Indiana to take a load to Iowa. So I decide, okay, well, I think I know where I can improve. And I set out, to do just that. Have in mind the things that I can keep improving. And I stay the night at a truck stop. Things are decent. And I'm supposed to pick up an empty trailer. The freaking leash is clanking against metal. Oh yeah, I make this delivery. Okay, I make this delivery in Indiana, and they have me just drop the trailer off. So for some reason, my manager is not aware that they're not going to live unload me. And I told them why. They said, well, they didn't want me to set up at a dock. They said, take it to this number marked parking spot and put it there. He said, okay. And then he said, well, we don't have anything for you tonight because you're getting close to your 14-hour clock is almost up. They had tried to pre-assign me a load all the way out to Georgia, but my 70-hour clock was about to run out. And I told them that, and they're like, yeah, but you could do recaps. And I'm like, I haven't worked enough in the last week to do any recaps. I have like an hour. So they wanted me to go pick up another load somewhere else. So the next morning I'm waiting and they still haven't contacted me, and it's not until like noon and they finally send me an assignment that's going to go to Iowa. So again, this is a big deal. The day before, so this is yesterday, in the afternoon, I just get this random email from my manager. And this file is attached. No heading or anything. It's just a file attached. And I open it. And it says TCU manual. And I was like, this looks familiar. Okay. Well, maybe he's trying to be helpful, Or maybe he's just been told to send people an updated copy of something. So I had time, so I decided to read it. Well, it's not just a manual, like I said. It's this whole freaking handbook on how to be a reefer driver for their division of the company. And in it, there's all of this stuff, like you need to have $140 in cash if you get sent to Laredo, Texas. No reason given. You just have to have it. It's like, you just have to have it. And these are the approved places we want you to get your trailer washed out. And you have to have your trailer washed out if it's empty, or else you could get in huge trouble. You could be charged for the load, like all of this extreme shit. And if you take your trailer to get washed, we'll reimburse you. Well, it's $43.50 every time you go. And if you don't get approval before you go, they won't pay you for the miles that it took to get there, even if it was out of your way. There's just all these things that like you could be charged for, or you better have money for up front, and we'll get you back later, man. And I'm just like, Nobody is working here because they're already rich. A lot of people get into trucking because they don't have any other options. Like felons, right? Felons don't usually have a lot of money. They get into trucking so they can have something. They knew I didn't have much money. But my most important question is, why the hell am I just now, after 2 weeks of being in this division, being given the information for what's expected of me as a reefer driver? That's what I'd like to know. Again, why is this important shit coming up after the fact? Like, I didn't know that you have to have your reefer diesel tank filled to 3/4 of a tank before you drop it off, or you could get a write-up. I've already done that more than once. Didn't know. Did not know. It's like they want you to fail. It's like you're set up to fail, is how I'm feeling. Like, and every time I talk to them, they're so freaking laissez-faire. They're so like, okay. Like, it's no big deal. Just very irksome. And so, yeah, so that was on my mind, and I was like, oh, what the hell am I doing in this division? God, I think I need to get into something else like dry van. This is too freaking complicated with the hassles that I'm going through just trying to get a load delivered at all. Way too many ways to screw up, okay? Again, none of this was mentioned to me in the training class. Like, here's what you really need to have on you when you start this job. Basically, you need to front some of the business costs for this business to be in this business, which I think is appalling. This is your fucking business. You pay for it. I'm not an owner-operator. Why am I taking the financial risk? Well, So back to the present. I get sent to pick up this load in Indiana and take it to Iowa. So I'm bobtailing. I've stopped at a truck stop. Do the same thing. Like I said, I got up in the morning. I waited to be assigned. I got the assignment. I'm about to leave. And I hear this beeping from my dash as I'm pulling up toward the fuel station. And I'm looking down at my dash and it says my seatbelt's not belted. And I'm like, I'm buckled. I'm buckled. I'm tugging on it. It's buckled. What's going on? Oh my fucking God. My dog. My poor little puppy. Little asshole. He has chewed through the sensor that tells the truck that you're buckled. So the beeping's going on, and I'm like, that's just great. That's going to be annoying. Oh no, it got worse. I get fueled. I decide to leave anyway, because I know I'm buckled. So if they have any questions, but just for safe measure, I'm thinking, well, I'll make sure that when I stop, I'll let them know what's going on. It let me know what's going on. My truck, and I thought it was the tablet at the time, kept saying very loudly every 3 seconds, fasten your seatbelt securely. Every 3 seconds. Fasten your seatbelt securely. Do you know how mind-numbing and distracting it is to have that being said every 3 seconds while you're driving down the road with your tablet and your app trying to tell you which places to go, and you got all this other shit you got to pay attention to? Loud as crap. So I stop at another Love's and I tell them what's going on. I can't hide. My damn dog damaged the truck. So now I damaged the truck. My dog has damaged the truck. I feel like they've already screwed me up pretty badly. I'm upset about the money. Now I have another reason to miss another load. Oh no. Now it's worse, because now they're like, you got to go to a dealership. Oh, and you know the story now, right? You got to go to a dealership and have them work on that. And I said, well, look, if they're going to tell me that I'm going to be stuck for days again somewhere to get this fixed, I can't. I literally can't. I have to feed myself. I have bills to pay. I cannot keep getting I'm sorry that my dog messed up the equipment. I am truly sorry. But I can't literally stay here losing more money for these truck fixes. I need to get home. And I need to be paid. And I've already accepted one of your company's $200 paycheck advances that I think it's kind of a red flag, honestly, that a company is giving out $200 paycheck advances to all their new employees. Every week you get one. I don't know if this is standard or not, but to me it's a red flag. I'm like, why is everyone needing a cash advance? And it's not even convenient. Not only do you feel like shit that you gotta borrow money from your own fucking job, but it's very inconvenient. You have to go stop somewhere, fill out this check, paper check, and then you have to go inside and get the approval. And then, and that's after you get approval first through the tablet, right? And then you have to go in and get cash. And so if you're nowhere near your bank and you have bills, now you have to figure out how you're going to deposit cash into your bank account to pay your bills. Yeah. It felt like a scam. It feels like a whole fucking scam. It really does. So here we are at what turns out to be a pretty nice dealership that is literally across the street from the truck stop that we stayed in last night. So at least I didn't have to go to some crummy place 2 hours away. And they even have an indoor lounge for dogs. It's pretty incredible. So night and day different from the last dealership I went to, who one of the first things they said to me after they told me about the chop shop people was, when I said what needed to be done, they're like, I don't think we do that anymore here. So you don't think that you fix trucks anymore at a dealership? Okay. Why doesn't my company know about that? Yeah, I got a lot of questions, right? One of them is, why the hell do I feel so fucking screwed right now? Yeah, that's A. I feel really bad that my dog chewed up that wire. And I just keep thinking of all the things that went wrong that weren't really my fault. I'm still responsible for what he did. And now that's another thing going to keep me from getting paid, probably. You know? And I'm just like, when's it going to end? When's it going to get better? I'm not a bad driver. I actually enjoy doing what's required of me on a job, but what I need from people is for them to be upfront and tell me exactly what's expected. Don't make me pull teeth to get it. Don't say that you gave me a paper and told me you trained me. Giving me a paper to read is not training. This isn't textbook learning for a written test. This is hands-on practical shit. And it's complicated. And it's extra complicated when it's a reefer unit. So please, do your job so I can do mine. Help me help you.